Welcome, welcome, Dana, Danica. I see you guys are on here already. Dylan is joining us. Jamie is also joining us. If you don't mind, guys, at the beginning for the first part of this session, let's keep our mics on. I want you guys to contribute as well. I'm going to ask some questions. It's not going to be work related, because I think importantly for me right at the start here, because we haven't spoken to each other, haven't seen each other for more than a week. I think initially with term 2, we've become so used to during lockdown and just watching a video and then maybe have one Zoom session at the end of the term. And actually, I look forward to or actually enjoyed the first week where there could have been, or there was some interaction via Zoom sessions. It's not, it's real time, and it's a bit better than just watching a video and listening to somebody in the background. Well, this is recorded as well, so it serves the same purpose. You can also, when you look at this video again later, you can pause it at any time, quickly go for a run, walk the dog, make a cup of coffee, have supper, whatever. But I think that's the benefit. But I'm going to allow a couple of minutes for more people to join us. I see Dylan is now also with us. I just want to make sure that everybody is up to speed with what the operational arrangements for the rest of the term is. The reason for that being is that not everybody is apparently always getting all the correspondence from Prestige Academy. And I'm going to sort of do a chronological rollout from where everything started at the beginning of the term, beginning of last week, and where we are now and where we're going for the rest of this term before we actually get to the specific work that needs to be covered today. Like always, this will be a 40-minute session with a 2-3 minute break in between, and then we return and finish the hour session. And I will upload this recording, and it will be available later on in the afternoon for you guys. I still have 2 more sessions after this, so around about, or just after 5, it should be obviously internet depending, or let me say rather load shedding depending, whether we will have it done by then, but it will be definitely before you go to bed tonight. I'm going to just admit Deirdre as well. Welcome, Deirdre. She's not with us yet. So yeah, welcome to those who've joined. I see that Deirdre, Jamie, Dylan, Danica, Dana is with us. If there's any questions, you guys are more than welcome to ask me a question at the moment. What I am going to do is, for Deirdre who just joined us, I'm going to give a chronological run through where the term started and how it's going to run for the rest of the term. Everybody okay with that? You can just either unmute yourself and just give me a, or just give me a thumbs up, say that it's fine, we can do that. Well, we're 5 minutes into the session already, so if people join us later, that's fine. If they don't, they can just watch the video. But yes, at any point, feel free to ask any questions. I think when I'm done with the operational issues, I'm going to unmute you all, and I would like some feedback, even if it's just to say, okay, now I understand, thank you very much, or no, I've got no idea, or you have any specific questions. So do take notes as we go along. But for me, it's important to start at the beginning, and just to give you guys a sort of clarity, because sometimes a lot of things are lost in translation. All right, so what was the intention? Term 2, we didn't have a choice. COVID restrictions were forced on us, and we were stuck in the middle of a term, and we basically reverted to pre-recorded class sessions that we uploaded videos onto YouTube. You guys watched it. At the end of the term, we did, or end of the semester, we did a Zoom session in preparation for your exam. And then we decided to, and that was based on feedback that we received from the students. A lot of students said, you know what, we would like a more sort of realistic interaction with our lecturers, not just once a term. What we did then is we decided, and when I'm referred to we in this video, I refer to Prestige Academy. Management at Prestige Academy then decided to listen to what the students wanted, or the majority of the students wanted, and also look at what's logistically possible. So they decided then to go back to the normal timetable as it would have been, with the 6 periods every day, starting at 8:10, and the last one finishing at 4, and have real-time Zoom sessions with the students 3 times a week in those periods. It worked well for week 1. The challenges that we immediately engaged was that we realized that, hang on, we need to improve our bandwidth for internet stability because of the manner in which it was now presented. And that's why last Thursday and Friday the classes were cancelled, so we could actually double our fiber capacity. And we thought, okay, right, we'll be geared for the rest of the term. And then, unfortunately, Eskom decided that, okay, right, load shedding is going to be a reality again. So extra bandwidth, faster internet didn't really help us at all. So another surprise, and as a result of that, sessions earlier this week was rather confusing. I knew on Monday I went into work because there was load shedding where my home office is, to deliver the Zoom session from the campus. I got there, half the students couldn't log in because they were in areas that were experiencing load shedding, although on campus I was in a zone that didn't at that stage have load shedding. And as I walked out of that meeting, I got an email from management to say that they've decided to revert back to a combination of what we've done so far, and that is to pre-record all your classes like we did in the first semester during the level 5 of lockdown, but that there will be 1 session a week that will be a live Zoom session, and in this case it will be today's session. We were all given the chance to decide which session we would want to have as a live session. Now, as much as we would want this to be a fixed weekly session, and at the moment that is going to be the case, this will be your weekly Zoom session, live real-time session for personal selling. But we have to consider load shedding. As a matter of fact, this morning it was level 1. From 2 o'clock this afternoon it's level 2. I'm pretty sure that's why not all the students could join us. And for that purpose, that was considered as well when I decided on this session. I had a look at the load shedding schedule for the next, starting past Monday, for the 2 weeks until the end of next Friday, just to get an idea on a more consistent basis. If it stays level 2, what would be our best session? And that's why I've come to the decision to make this our live streaming session. What I then did, and I'm going to, before I allow you to give some input, I'm going to share the screen with you with some documents that I've uploaded onto Moodle. The first one would be a similar document. You guys can see that. Can everybody see that? Oh, good. Everybody see that? Good. Now, I've uploaded this on Moodle. In your course, you'll see that there is a folder, online lectures. Now, in online lectures, you will find this document, which will be done monthly. In other words, that's a row, basically an illustration of what the July classes would look like. Your classes would normally have been a double period on a Tuesday, and it will remain a double period on a Tuesday, although those sessions will just be pre-recorded. And then the Thursday sessions would be Zoom sessions, right? To conclude the 3 periods per week. Or and I'm going to just change this document to another one. And the other doc that I want to share with you now is that one. And that you'll find also on Moodle in that same folder. And this is updated on a weekly basis. This gives you, as per that previous schedule, the classes, and then obviously the video links, and you're used to it. I've included the dates. In other words, today's session, the 16th, we're going to be looking at the final part of communication, chapter 3. Tonight, I'll upload that video and this one. I will still continue to pre-record all the sessions. Okay, so you will have a choice for the Zoom sessions to either look at the Zoom session or to have the YouTube video, or you actually can look at both, but I'm going to do all sessions as pre-recorded sessions as well. So you'll find those, or you will find all the links to all the pre-recorded sessions and Zoom sessions in that folder. And as I said, this is updated if not on a daily basis, at least on a weekly basis. Right. Let's close that schedule for you as well. Right. So those two docs are the ones that will guide you through the term. So what's going to happen from now on is, for the rest of the term, we will have another schedule for August. And you will use that as your guideline. So if you sit at home and you want to plan your day or your week, use that particular schedule. Visit the online one document for the video links. And then also importantly to remember is that all assignments will be done will be uploaded electronically. Via the Moodle page. We're going to be using Moodle now on a more regular basis, because it has a lot of functions that we have not used, and it's going to be the platform that we'll be using from now on into the future as well. Which means that all correspondence will happen through that as well. It's just to ensure that there's a consistency in the manner in which not just me, but all the lecturers in all the faculties, on all the courses, for all the subjects, communicate with their students. So in other words, what happens is, for those who've been onto Moodle yesterday or this morning, you would have seen that on your right-hand side of the screen, there's announcements. Always check on those announcements, people, because that's where I'm going to communicate with you. If I upload the video like I do tonight, I will send you, at the end of every week, I will send an announcement out to say the videos for this week is up on Moodle. Then you know it's there for you to go and look. There's also a forum that was created. I know that your previous communication indicated that you would, or the college would prefer that you communicate via email with your lecturers or in the Zoom sessions, but we've also re-established a forum for you to post any questions you might have. The best way of communicating, obviously, is still email, and I think this particular arrangement that we've come or concluded was to ensure that if there's 3 periods in a week, that at least you will have an opportunity to look at the videos of the 3 periods before they start, or before the 3rd period starts, which is a Zoom session. and then we can discuss those videos of that week and have a general question and answer session, and also highlight specific or address specific aspects of those 3 videos that you have that you've found that you've battled with. So if you haven't watched the videos before the Zoom session, then obviously, I mean, it's of no it's of no value to you. Although the Zoom session would still be of value, because there will be questions that is general or are general questions, but they were asked by individuals, and as a result of that, other students who did not think of that particular question or did not have problems with that particular issue would also benefit from the feedback that is given during such a session. One more change to what we initially intended at the start of the term, before I ask you for your input, is that in our first session last week, I said to you, attendance will be done via Moodle by the student, and it will be done in the period or the time that the live Zoom sessions happen. Now, because of the changes, the attendance is still done, and it has to still be done like you did in term 2 on the day that you have the lecture, but it could be any time during the day because it's pre-recorded sessions. You can watch the video whenever. Your attendance, you can actually also log in anytime during the day. Okay. Okay, thank you very much. I just saw my phone. There's a notification from Telkom that came through that says, from Eskom that says stage 2 has started. It doesn't affect me, but it might some of the other students. Right, I'm going to unmute all of you at the moment. Anybody has any?
I sent it to the group
Danica?
on the 15th. I sent it to my prestige group, you know, like the funny group with all my friends. And I said, oh, look what I have. And then I showed Megan. Megan was in her room when I showed her this. So she didn't go out. It was you two, you and Daddy, that went out somewhere.
Sunday, 9:15.
Did you see a movie?
No. Thank you. Guys, anybody from what I said now and the arrangements for the rest of the term, any questions, any concerns, any positives, any negatives so far? What has been the problem with most of you? No problems.
No problem.
Nope.
Going with the flow.
It is
No, no.
Sorry, Dylan, no problems?
I said so. It was before I had problems connecting, like with the Zoom sessions, and now I managed, and now yeah, but now everything is alright. So the communication wise.
Now you know how we feel. We get everything in a ducks in a row, and then somebody else comes, and if it's not Virgil van Dijk giving a horrible pass to his keeper and give Arsenal an easy goal,
that was just unlucky, sir. That was just unlucky, sir.
Listen, I think at the end of the day, I can get used to even if we lose a game, I can get used to the commentators referring to Arsenal beat the champions Liverpool. I can get used to that 2 words, champions Liverpool, in the same sentence. So I'll bear with it. I think it must be extremely difficult to motivate yourself once you've actually won something that that has eluded you for so long, for 30 years. But anyway, it is what it is. Yeah, you know what? If it's not a storm that blows over trees and knocks over cell phone towers, it's Eskom. And if it's not Eskom, it's COVID.
One thing goes to the next. It's always a problem.
There's always a problem. You know what? And the one thing, Dylan, that I've realized, and that applies to all of you, because this module called personal selling, this will, as a matter of fact, and not just this particular module, but the whole experience of learning or of studying at a college or a university during these times of COVID-19 and the restrictions, has actually given you a massive bonus that you would have paid lots of money for, either to do as a course at a different college or at Prestige, or sometime later in future at your work. And that is time management, the ability to change and adapt quickly and to manage your time. Those two lessons are invaluable, and it applies to all walks of life. And for your future careers, it's invaluable lessons that we've been forced to learn. And yeah, Dylan, yes, we have to change. And you know what? We got to the point where initially we complained, oh, no, this again, oh, no, that again. Now we say, okay, right, so this is it. How do we solve it? So we've become used to addressing challenges, and you are not going to, you're going to be better equipped for future, your life as a human being, as well as your career, wherever it takes you. If these two lessons that COVID-19 has actually taught us or forced upon us, um, if we apply that, because that's why you go to work and you work from 8 to 5 every day. And you work for the whole year except for 21 days that you have leave. And that's the normal arrangement that companies have with their employees. If it was the other way around and we work for 21 days and the rest we would be on holiday, then work will be called holiday and holiday will be called work. And it's called work because we do that for that larger percentage of the year. As a matter of fact, 11 months of the year. And you're going to be doing that for the rest of your life. So yes, very valuable lessons in that regard, in not just specifically as a future potential salesperson and relevant to this particular module on the course, but in general for us as citizens and human beings with careers ahead of us. So any general questions, any other concerns, problems that you've had experience, anybody? Not really?
No, sir.
All good?
All good.
I'll leave you with this before I continue with the work. The following. If you're not getting any correspondence and consistent correspondence from Prestige Academy, please check that they have the correct contact details of where to get in touch with you. And if they change, if you have created a new Gmail account, if you have a new cell phone number, whatever, because we're living in a time of constant change. It's your responsibility to inform the college that that information has changed. You cannot later on say, but I didn't get that announcement, or I didn't get that WhatsApp. It's your responsibility to ensure that your details is correct. I'm not preaching, I'm just pointing out something of great importance, because if it's a week before the exams and you come with that kind of excuse, then obviously I think you will you stand a fair chance of not being accommodated. Who has watched the videos on chapter 3, communication, that has been uploaded earlier in the week? Who's been onto Moodle and who's had a look at chapter 3, communication? None of you. What have you been doing? Oh my.
Sir,
Did I hear the question?
what is new WhatsApp group that they're talking about?
What?
What is this new WhatsApp group that they're talking about? They sent an announcement for WhatsApp groups.
No, that is not course specific, and it's not module specific. It's not done by all the or individual lecturers. That's groups that they, as a college, have established to ensure that as in communication, as things change and decisions are taken jointly by Stadio management and Prestige Academy, that impact and apply on you, that they will notify you in that regard. Yes. So it's just it was existing detail. They took the database of all the students that we have on our campuses in Bellville and in Centurion, and populated that particular database and ensure that everybody is part of a WhatsApp group. So that is just to give you general information that comes directly from the college. It's not it's not course related or course specific now.
Okay.
And that's also why I don't have a WhatsApp group for this particular class, because I mean there's just too many groups. I can't keep track. So that's why I say in this at this point, email me and I can reply to the email. My email prestige email has been a bit erratic the last couple of days. So if I haven't responded to any emails, go onto Moodle and post something to me in the forum, and I can reply to that. But unfortunately, we are not permitted to give our personal email addresses out to students, just to make sure that there's consistent communication. I mean, some lecturers probably do, but the fact is that it's not policy, and we would prefer to rather. That's why we have email addresses or Prestige Academy email addresses. So use the emails and use the forum on Moodle to communicate with your lecturers, or use these Zoom sessions, please. Right. Chapter 3 is on communication, and communication. I'm not going to be dealing with specifically the first two sections, part 1 and part 2, because they are on video, and since nobody indicated that they watched the videos, I'm not going to repeat that. Go look at the videos, and then at the next opportunity, you're welcome to ask me any questions or send me questions via email or forum. But basically, this chapter 3, communication, which is obviously a vital component for anybody who's in sales. Communicating effectively or efficiently with your customers, getting the correct information across in the right manner is extremely important. And that's why this particular chapter has been broken up into 3 parts. One is your verbal communication, in other words, the words that you use, the tone and the pattern of your voice. Non-verbal communication, that's sort of handshakes and gestures and body language. And then the one that we'll do today, which is the written communication. All 3 of them complement each other. They cannot be done in isolation. If you speak to somebody now, and you do a presentation on a product that you want to sell to them, and they show interest, you can't just leave it there. You have to capture that data somewhere, and you have to, via email or WhatsApp or in whatever form you choose, you have to follow up with that client. So there is a sort of a paper trail, although it might be an electronic paper trail, of a particular discussion, and then hopefully finally a transaction. Right, so I'm going to, I think we've got, if memory serves me correctly, we've got about half an hour to go in this session. No, we've got about 15, let me see, we've got about 10 minutes to go in this session. And then we'll go into a short break and return to finish chapter 3. But let's share the screen with the slides that I want to show you on this particular chapter, which, as I said, is chapter 3. And as you can see right at the start there, and that will also show on Moodle. It will show on Moodle where you have it will show on Moodle where you have a PowerPoint slide version as well as a video version. Right. Now, communication is very important, and I've chosen that specific image on the screen to indicate to you guys that very often a lot is lost in translation between the sender of the message, that's the person on the left-hand side who's talking, and the receiver, the person who's listening. Now, in one of the previous videos, actually part 1 of this chapter, there is an example that basically identifies 7 elements in the communication process. Now, a couple of years ago, while I was working at Sports Science in Newlands, at one morning, some of the other tenants in the building, friends of ours, whose offices were right next to me, both of the 2 partners in this business ran into the office and said to me, they have just realized how silly they are, because they actually sit like these 2 guys in that image, but in the same office, 3x4 office, back to back, each in front of the computer screens, and they're sending each other emails. They shouldn't be doing that. They should rather be talking to each other. So yes, there's obviously a lot of communication errors that we make, and this particular chapter is to address those issues so we do not make those mistakes. When communication happens between you as a salesperson and a potential customer, it is very important to realize that you represent a company, and as a result of that, you must be very clear on what kind of written material you share with your customers. You have to make sure that that particular written format of communication can be email, can be a postcard, could be a letter, could be a number, and we'll have a look at all the different types just now. That has to be according to the company's regulations, and you cannot send any junk mail to the email. You've got to send company information that is relevant, and therefore, and we'll see later in the chapter, it is very important to do proper research in what the customer wants. So you send him just the correct information and not too much information. I know, for instance, and we'll get to that later as well, when somebody sends me an email and it's longer than 2 paragraphs, I'm going to rather scroll to one that is 1 paragraph. Emails shouldn't be too long when communicating. And very importantly is also to ensure that your spelling and grammar is correct. When you're doing emails, you've got spell checks. Use it. It's a function that's offered to you by the software package that's installed on your PC. One of the examples was the sales letter. I think that's probably not happening as much nowadays. However, it's still done where businesses do business with each other, and large transactions, big amount transactions, and complex transactions are involved, because you still have to have some form of record of what was discussed and what was agreed. The assumption letter is based upon the assumption that the person is actually going to read it. So you have to, after you've sent this letter, it could be an attachment to an email. You have to follow up and see if that person has actually read it. In your manuals on page 86, there's also an example of such a sales letter, but I've included the image there on the screen too. Another format used is a postcard. It actually works quite well. I mean, it's not a postcard where you have a stamp in the top corner and you mail it and say, wish you could be here. No, it's an informative form. It's a double-sided postcard-sized printed card that has information on the one side. Like, for instance, in this case, it was marketing information from a particular company in New York, and on the back of it is there were 3 lines of the name of the person that is sent to or given to or handed out to is written in. So it sort of gives you sort of some kind of personal touch, because that's usually what happens. 30 years ago, we went overseas before cell phones and stuff like that, with phones and the internet and the social media platforms. I mean, it's you wrote a postcard, you mailed it, and by the time you got to the next city, the person only received the postcard for you. That was a way of communication a very personal, and it gives you that kind of feeling as well when you use this particular format. The customer feels that that it's a more personal way of communicating. Emails, we know, it could be our friend, it could be our enemy. Keep it as short as possible. Ensure that the message is clear, and then also follow up. You have the option of the sender indicating if they have received it or not. If you have activated that particular function and there's no response on the email, then you have to follow up. We'll do in greater detail electronic communication in chapter 15 of this course. Proposals also done in a written format. Usually it's sent via electronic media, email, to a company. It could be in the form of, it could be a follow-up to a telephonic conversation you had, and now you want to just provide written proof of the conversation that happened and what was offered in particular. Or if your company is launching a new product, for instance, this is a form that is often used to send out via email with an attachment, this proposal letter being the attachment, or proposal being the attachment, to customers, and that's in your database already. Because it makes them feel special, and it's almost as if you're getting a sort of a preview of the because you're a valued customer of a launch of a new product that we are going to have in a month's time. Right. When we communicate, it's important that we understand, and you know what, guys, at this point, I think we're going to run out of time in about a couple of minutes. So I'm going to stop right here. Please quickly go fill up your cool drinks and your snacks and whatever. Make us up a cup of tea. And then rejoin me in about 5 minutes. Let's say, let's rejoin. Let's rejoin at 2:30, and then we'll finish the last section of the chapter where we'll be looking at 4 different communication styles: emotive, directive, reflective, and supportive, and specifically look at the characteristics of each of those types of communicators. Okay, I'm going to finish the session here for you guys, if you don't mind, and then we'll rejoin, let's say in 5 minutes, please.